Every once in a while, a club signs a player who instantly looks like he belongs. No settling in period, no nervy first games, no give him time. He walks in and plays like he's been at the club for a decade. That's exactly what Piero Hincapié has done at Arsenal. The guy just joined, but the way he plays, the way he carries himself, the way he dominates duels, you'd swear that he's been an Arsenal player for years.
Pues primero adaptarme la mejor manera a mis compañeros y hacer una buena temporada y obviamente siempre, como digo, quiero ganar títulos con esta camiseta, quiero dejar mi nombre, dejar una huella y ojalá Dios quiera ya pronto empezar bien y eso es lo más importante.
If someone told Arsenal fans that Hincapie and Mosquera joined back in 2021, nobody would even question it. That's how natural this guy looks in the team. It was a signing that shocked everyone in the best possible way. You see, on August 23rd, Arsenal had just introduced their new big signing in Eberechi Eze in front of a packed Emirates before smashing Leeds United 5-0. Fans left the stadium thinking the transfer window was basically done, but Mikel Arteta had one more ace up his sleeve. So when Arsenal announced the signing of Piero Hincapié from Bayer Leverkusen, another left-footed center back, everyone was surprised. But the more you watch this guy, the more you realize the signing made total sense. With Saliba and Gabriel as the established duo, and players like Calafiori, Mosquera, Timber, White, and Lewis Skelly providing rotation options, it seemed like Arsenal already had defensive depth. But Arteta loves versatile, brave defenders, especially if they're left-footed, and Hincapie fits that blueprint perfectly. From day one, he's looked calm, strong, and completely unfazed. You forget this guy's only 23 because he plays with such maturity. He looks like someone who's been playing in Arteta's system for years. No nerves, no hesitation. He just steps on the pitch and plays like a senior player who has worn the shirt his whole career. He reads the game very smoothly and just wins every single duel. And then whether he's passing the ball or defending someone, you can feel the calmness in everything he does. But what really stands out is his aggression and the fact that he's able to control it. He's able to be tenacious without being wild. He gets physical with the attackers, but he's not clumsy. And he's able to be tough without being reckless. When this guy goes into a duel, he goes in with the full belief that he's going to win it. And most of the time he does. His timing is outstanding. When the ball is on the ground, he knows when to step in and when to hold his position. In the air, he times his jumps like a striker. Against Tottenham, it was one of his headed clearances that directly started the sequence that led to Arsenal's fourth goal. These are tiny details that only the top defenders get right. And speaking of his headers, the power behind them is crazy. For example, Gabriel is known for winning almost everything in the air, but Hincapie's clearances actually travel further. This guy must do a lot of neck exercises in the gym because when he heads the ball, I swear he sends it to the other side of London. You usually don't see that kind of force unless it's a 6'4" unit of a guy. But Hincapie actually is able to do it even though he's not the biggest guy because of his technique and timing. Even though he's not one of the tallest center backs in the league, he wins a surprising amount of aerial duels. And it's because he understands angles, has excellent positioning, and knows when to attack the ball. His awareness makes up for his height every single time. And then there's his composure on the ball, which might be the most underrated part of his game. This guy doesn't panic under pressure. He doesn't take unnecessary risks. He doesn't just blast the ball away without thinking. He's not Tottenham's midfield. He keeps things very simple and controlled. He's one of those players who makes the game looks slower than it actually is because he never looks rushed. And then his versatility, it's equally as impressive. He's the type of guy that you can plug into any position in the back line. He can play left back, center back, a wide center back in a back three. No matter the position, he plays at a high level. And that's because he understands the game and understands what the different roles demand. This is rare for any player, let alone a new signing. And for a 23-year-old, it's almost unheard of. But like I said, that's the thing about Hincapie. From the first minute, he didn't look new. He looked like he had been here forever. Now, before anyone in Europe even knew his name, Hincapie was already impressing coaches. Back in Ecuador, at Independiente del Valle, he arrived for preseason training as a young 17-year-old who was just supposed to learn from the senior player. Instead though, he walked in and completely flipped the expectation. During those early sessions, something crazy started happening. Every single day, the GPS report would come in, which is a system that the team used to track data, and the coaches thought the system was glitching. The data they were seeing didn't make any sense. The physical numbers for Piero weren't just high, they were unreal. He had the fastest top speed, the most sprints, the highest acceleration number, the most high intensity actions, and the most consistent output across full sessions. And these stats weren't compared to kids. This was the stats compared to full professionals in the first team. Miguel Angel Ramirez, the head coach who would eventually give Hincapie his first professional debut, said everyone at the club was stunned by what they were seeing. Senior pros, we're talking about players with years of experience, were being outrun, outworked, and outperformed by a skinny teenager who had just turned up. Ramirez himself described it perfectly. He said Hincapie was amazing physically, a beast, and better than any professional in the first team. Think about that. He wasn't equal to the first team players. He wasn't promising. He wasn't someone with big potential. He was actually better than the first team professional. And this was a club known for producing top talents. This wasn't some small academy in the middle of nowhere. Independiente had already produced players like Moises Caicedo and Willian Pacho, both of whom were older than Hincapie. But even with those names, Hincapie jumped the queue. He was promoted ahead of Caicedo. He was promoted ahead of Pacho. He was promoted ahead of players who were older, bigger, and supposedly more ready. And that's because he was more ready than all of them. He wasn't just physically advanced. He was sharper mentally, cleaner technically, and just more tactically aware. It was very rare to see a 17-year-old so complete in so many areas as a defender, a position in which you usually get better with age. Most teenagers break into the first team training slowly. Hincapie walked in and behaved like he belonged there from day one. That moment, that single preseason, is where his story really started. That's where everyone at the club realized they weren't dealing with a normal young defender. They were dealing with someone who had the physical tools, mentality, and maturity to become something special. And everything he's done since, the rise in Argentina, the move to Europe, shining at Leverkusen, and now stepping into Arsenal, it all goes back to those early days. Arteta has already called him a warrior. Funny enough, Xabi Alonso also said the same thing about him at Leverkusen, and it's obvious to see when you watch him play. In only his second start for Arsenal, away to Slavia Prague, he became the first Arsenal player in 12 years to win 100% of his duels in a Champions League match, with 8 or more contested. At one point, this 6'6" Slavia striker, Tomas Chori, tried to intimidate him, but I guess that guy forgot how aggressive South American defenders are, because Hincapie squared him up instantly with zero fear. In fact, Gabriel had to pull him away because this guy was ready for war.
Yo creo que puedo aportar mucha garra y hacer las cosas bien, también mostrar mi calidad, que lo vengo haciendo durante años y quiero dar mucho más para este club.
That's who he is. He's strong, he's relentless, he's aggressive, he's very brave. He loves contact, he loves duels, he loves the challenge. And that mentality makes him a perfect Arteta defender. This is one of those players who takes pride in defending, and it's something very common that I've noticed with Ecuadorian players. Hincapie can be hard to analyze sometimes because he's played so many roles, especially during his time at Leverkusen. He's played as a left center back, a wide center back in a back three, at left back, as a wing back, as an inverted defender, as an overlapping fullback, as an underlapping fullback. The guy can literally do everything.
Mi mejor posición es de central. Obviamente jugué muchos partidos de lateral también, pero bueno, creo que mi posición más fuerte es de central y creo que mis habilidades, soy rápido, me gusta salir jugando con el balón y pues nada, ser un líder dentro del campo.
When Grimaldo arrived at Leverkusen in 2023, Hincapie played deeper and was more focused on the build-up. But even then, he still overlapped, underlapped, and helped break the lines. His passing numbers were elite. He had over 100 plus passes in 3 Bundesliga games. He was in the top 10 for line-breaking passes last season, and he had a 22.1% progressive carry rate, which was the 3rd highest among all Bundesliga defenders. This guy is very fearless when he steps out with the ball. Against Bochum, he broke the lines by dribbling straight through their midfield and threading a perfect through ball to Schick. That profile is exactly what Arteta wanted. Someone who's physical but technical, someone who's positionally intelligent, brave enough to play a high line, comfortable defending in big spaces, aggressive in duels, and flexible enough to change roles mid-game. If you notice, Calafiori has all these qualities. So does Timber, and so does Mosquera. But you could genuinely make the argument that Hincapie brings a level of power and explosiveness that none of those guys can match. At Leverkusen and for Ecuador, Hincapie played as a left back often and excelled. His coach from Independiente, Ramirez, had said before that Hincapie knows where the space is and he knows when to overlap. Here's an example of him against Bayern, where he sprinted past Leroy Sané down the flank and whipped in a dangerous cross. Against Dortmund, he outran Jan Couto and delivered a perfect assist to Schick. I don't think Arteta's gonna use him as a left back, but his calmness on the ball is essential, as we've seen, as a left center back in the back four. I mean, this guy is so good that he replaced Gabriel and there wasn't a drop off in quality. His speed, stamina, and defensive coverage lets Arsenal change shape constantly. What's funny is we talk about his calmness now, but his first Bundesliga season was actually chaotic. He got 13 yellow cards and 3 red cards, but since then he's matured. Now he got 0 red cards in his last 2 seasons. He had an elite 65.9% true tackle win rate. He had much better discipline, better decision making, and his aggression was more controlled. Look at this example versus Hoffenheim. He races forward to suffocate Aslani and instantly turns defense into attack. Sometimes he still commits fouls and occasionally steps up too early, but his intensity is perfect for Premier League defending, and we've already seen it against Brighton, against Tottenham, though you can't really judge his defending from the North London derby. Tottenham barely created an attack. Now when it comes to Hincapie, everyone talks about the structure of his loan for this Arsenal deal. Well, the truth is that Hincapie wanted out. I mean, think about it, the guy went from Xabi Alonso, one of the most intelligent coaches in Europe, to Erik ten Hag. No wonder he was begging to leave. He went from tactical lectures to push-up drill, and I'm sure seeing Caicedo and Pacho make big moves before pushed him even more. He himself said he was desperate to come to the Premier League. He wanted to play for Arsenal.
¿Qué te convenció para venir al Arsenal?
Pues la verdad siempre he visto partidos de la Premier y veía al Arsenal, y obviamente también tienen un gran entrenador y tienen jugadores de mucho nivel, y pues nada, me convenció eso, las ganas de querer ganar cosas, de querer ganar títulos, y pues bueno, eso es lo que me motiva también, venir aquí.
And considering the fact that Xabi is close to Arteta, it's hard not to imagine him blessing the move to the Gunners. And when you look at Hincapie's story, it makes sense. His coach Ramirez said that when Hincapie was 17, he already walked around like he was Sergio Ramos. That's how much he believed in himself. Reportedly, the guy thought he was ready to move abroad after just a few games. Independiente, though, wanted him to stay longer. Ramirez fought to keep him because he didn't think Hincapie was ready emotionally. And he was right, because when he went to Talleres, he struggled. He didn't play and he felt frustrated. But that moment helped him mature. He got a stronger mentality, and he earned a move to Bayer Leverkusen. Now he's an Ecuador international at only 23 years old, but he is still hungry for more, and that hunger is what allowed him to take the next step to come to Arsenal, a team where he knows he has to fight every week just to start, because there's just so many good players ahead of him. The Gabriel injury provided the perfect opportunity for Hincapie to really show his ability, and when you watch him play, he really is the perfect Mikel Arteta defender.
Solo bastó con una conversación para hacerme sentir seguro de la decisión que estaba tomando, y pues nada, muy feliz la verdad.
Because if you had to try and design that ideal guy from scratch, you'd probably end up creating someone who looks a lot like Piero Hincapié. He checks every single box Arteta valued. First, there's his bravery. He doesn't hide. He wants the ball. He wants to be involved in the duel. He wants the responsibility. Whether this guy's getting pressed or he's isolated facing a fast attacker, he never plays scared. I'm telling you, South American defenders are built different. That kind of bravery is the exact reason that Arsenal can defend so aggressively. Then there's his versatility. Arteta loves a player who can play multiple positions without the team losing structure. Hincapie can do that, although as we've seen, he's going to be the backup left-sided center back. But he can play as a fullback, he can play as a wide center back in case the team switches to a back three mid-game. You can move this guy around anywhere mid-game and he will still look comfortable. And then there's his aggression. Arteta does not want passive defenders. Arsenal are past that period. He wants players who step up, press, and kill attacks early. Hincapie's intensity in duel and his willingness to confront attackers is exactly what Arteta wants. But the good thing is that he balances that with calmness. He's not like David Luiz, who used to just go into tackles without any recognition of what's going to get him a card. It's rare to find someone who can be this aggressive off the ball, but then composed on it. Hincapie reads pressure really well. He keeps his cool, and he doesn't make those panicky mistakes that you often see from young defenders. A big reason for that is that he's very technically secure. His touches are clean. He plays these really crisp passes. He's just very comfortable building out from the back, very confident in his own ability. His athleticism also stands out. He's very quick, explosive. He's also very strong. Add that with his recovery speed, and you understand why he's crucial for a team that plays with a high line. If you're gonna defend big spaces, you need someone who can sprint backwards like his life depends on it, and Hincapie can do that perfectly. Arteta's Arsenal defend with energy. When they lose the ball, they swarm the opposition. Hincapie is naturally built for that chaos. He reacts very fast, he closes down space, and he forces the opponent into mistakes. And then maybe the biggest reason why he's perfect for Arteta is that he has real tactical intelligence. He's a smart guy. He understands movement, distances, when to step forward, when to drop back. He adapts to what the game needs. That's why he's so comfortable defending 1v1 situations, whether it's in big spaces or in tight areas. This is the foundation of Arsenal's system. If your defenders can't hold their own in isolation, the whole structure breaks down. And Hincapie, he's one of those players that embraces those moments. Add all of that together and you get somebody super solid on that left side. Right now he's Gabriel's backup, the same way that Mosquera is Saliba's. But you can genuinely use this guy at left back as well with no problem. No matter where you put him, he's going to play. He's too good and too complete to sit on the bench for too long. And considering how many competitions Arsenal are in and injuries constantly happening, and he's a great squad player. Arteta knows it, the players know it, and the fans can already see it. Hincapie wasn't just another signing, he was an Arteta signing built perfectly for this team.
See you soon.
Now the guy ahead of him is also an incredible defender, and that's Gabriel. To see just how good the Brazilian has become, you have to watch this video right here.